89 points, and we still didn't win the Premier League. And the search for a Premier League trophy during the Emirates era goes on. And that's, 20 plus years and still counting. I'm 29, so you can see the correlation between our Premier League trophy drought and obviously me wanting to win the Premier League as a grown adult people. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. 89 points. We didn't win the Premier League. It just shows how good Pep Guardiola is. 4 Premier League trophies on the spin. The man's a demon. The man's a monster. He's Pep, you're a bold bastard, man. That's all I can say. My manager's got hair in it. I'm not necessarily sour at Man City, but it's like life isn't fair. Life isn't fair, but it's equal, and everybody's got equal opportunities in terms of, we know some teams have more money than others. Some fans will sit here and talk about financial doping and all the charges that City have. I don't want to get into that. Everyone's got 38 games. Simple as that. Whether you have the tools that are better than certain others, it is what it is. And Pep has shown. And I think because, obviously, in a nice way, Pep is so good. City are so good. It's boring now. We know they're elite. Nobody's really shocked by anything they do. They broke a lot of their own personal accolades and records throughout the season. They've gone unbeaten since December. When you look at their top 6 record compared to us, when you look at the amount of, some of their results compared to us, there's certain metrics that we've been a lot better, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And City and Pep Guardiola and all those players have shown why. And I hope they do the double. Of course, I hope they beat Manchester United in the FA Cup, really, because my United supporting friends are doing the most, really. Like, you would think Arsenal lost yesterday. You would have thought we lost midweek against City as well. They're doing the most. And I think people are so happy. The game's the game. Don't get twisted. Agenda's agenda. Arsenal, we've been giving it out all season to rival fans. We have to accept it. But I just think they're so happy that the reality that Arsenal could have won the league didn't happen, running bans, and we have to hold that. But I think when people are done laughing at the football club for 89 points, and all the things, they don't have to respect us, they don't have to like us, but they have to admit, and most honest people admit, we're competitive again. We're doing a lot of good things. There's a lot of things to envy about Arsenal. Now, the best team won. Man City were the best team in the league. Table doesn't lie, but it doesn't tell the truth. And I would say when you exclude City, we've probably been the best performing Premier League side. So it's a mixed bag, really and truly, where I look at this Premier League season. I do think it is a missed opportunity, because I do think we'll be up there again. I don't know if we'll win it. I don't know if we'll finish second like the last 2 years. I expect a top 3 finish minimum. Of course, I want to aspire to more. Everybody's going to get better. We're going to get better. Everyone's going to get better. Everyone's going to have highs and lows. It is what it is, and may the best team win. We've got nothing to do but go again. All we can do is reflect, and there's been some great performances from us this season. Our record against the top 6 has been amazing. Obviously, there was a point this year we was just up and down the country, just at halftime supporters of the teams that we were playing, they were just leaving the stadium. We had a great start to 2024. In fact, we've been very good 2024. Yes, we've gone out against Bayern Munich, which the Champions League is for another video. What is it? 1 loss. We've only lost to Aston Villa. Forgive me if I'm wrong, in the Premier League. If you told me that in December, I would say you're smoking something special. We've gone up and down the country, played some big teams and some big games. Our rivals didn't really have a say in denting our title aspirations. I mean, some of you could talk about Spurs not beating City. For me, that's irrelevant. Everything was in our control. Everything in life is in your control. In terms of, we just win our games, we're laughing. Anytime you're reliant on other teams, and if you're reliant on West Ham, in David Boy's last game, pick them up. If you're reliant on Spurs, who us Arsenal fans call serial bottlers, etc., where we're at. And the narrative will be painted that Arsenal bottled it. But, last year, when everybody knew we was top of the table for 200 odd days, and I think City were like 14, 15 days, and they won it. But, Liverpool actually, were running away with the title at some point. They actually were top of the tree, in Klopp's last season, longer than Arsenal and City. So I just want equality. I'm not here for the blame game. And I think when we sit back, it's been a good season. It's been one of promise. It's been one of development. Kai Havertz has found this full. Kai Havertz, I won't forget. By the way, Kai, I won't forget this. This March to May period, big you up, because it big you up in it. You were 30, like you've done what you've needed to do. Again, sorry for my alarm going off, but it's been great to 2024. Now, in hindsight, for me, you can't win them all. It'd be nice to just win one Premier League, but in terms of games, you can't win them all in it. So for me, I would look back to the 4-point shot against Fulham, at the Emirates. That was a terrible performance and quite silly from us, and it's come back to bite us. Away from home, I think, over the 38 games, Fulham away was our worst performance. There was no positives. And if you remember, we took the lead in that game as well. If I'm honest, them and the North London derby at the Emirates, this is where it's now that extra percentage, because we've shown we can compete. We've shown we're developing something. It's now about that extra 10% to get over the line, whether that's improving what we have, whether that's, you know, bringing in better players, changing dynamics and systems, and bringing in a striker and a winger. That's for Mikel Arteta to work out. I personally think we need a striker, we need a winger, we need a central midfielder. I think a lot of our issues have come from central midfield, and, you know, a lot of talking points around the same old players need to be eradicated next year. But I would look to the 2 games against Fulham, the 2 games against Aston Villa, more so away than at the Emirates, even though it's a mixed bag. West Ham at home, where we lost 2-0. In fact, when we lost 2-0 to Aston Villa at home and West Ham at home, very different contexts, but similar in that we've left ourselves open. Like, it's like being in a fight. We're fighting, we've turned around, and we're surprised we've been given 2 knockout blows. So there's many performances. Newcastle away as well. We can talk about VAR with the ball going out, which is, there is legitimacy, but I'd rather focus on why we didn't create and convert our chances. So, you know, again, life isn't fair, but it's equal, and we've had opportunities to really get over the line. And again, there is an improvement on last year in that, you know, we've run it down to the last day, and, you know, you hope that things can happen. But again, once realities are out of your control and you need favors from everybody else, that's where my optimism kind of goes. So it's just about getting over the line. And for me, I'm not going to sit here and say Mikel Arteta, the players and Edu and whatnot are not ambitious. But now it's like, do we really push on for this, or do we just hope that it kind of happens in the last 2 years? Don't get twisted. Nothing is by coincidence. Mikel Arteta has engineered everything positively. And I think indirectly as a club, everything that we've gone through negatively has been an issue. I think we need to address central midfield. I think certain talking points around players being injured needs to go. We, you know, big up Kai Havertz and whatnot, and we do need a winger, but everybody needs to get their form going. And again, if you sit there in August, for me, as much as I like our collective talent, Bukayo Saka is probably the only one you could look at and say 100% you're going to get double figures, and you're genuinely shocked if you don't. That doesn't mean the others can't really. So it's a weird one, man. In relation to the Everton game, of course, I'm happy to win. Obviously, watching the game again, you know, fans are going to their attention kind of in the 90 minutes at the Emirates is going to be elsewhere. And some fans are going to have a glimmer of hope with West Ham. And you could see on TNT Sports and I'm sure any any football channel that was showing the game every second, just finding that one fan that's crying or got their phone out and whatnot. And maybe indirectly that fed into the players, but it's a learning curve. You think City haven't, you know, as good as City are, they've gone into scenarios and moments where fans' attention to a degree is elsewhere, and it is what it is. But in relation to the Everton game, it's nice to win. It's nice to end the season on 89 points. It's nice to just win a game of football because it could have went left. You know, credit to Sean Dyche's men. I think they made it very difficult for us. You know, I think on another day, you know, again, it's just about getting over the line. I think on the transition, we weren't good enough defensively, and it was kind of summed up with Benjamin White giving the ball away, Partey giving the foul away. You know, not that I'm blaming anyone individually. Deflected free kick, they took the lead. And there were warning signs. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin hit the post. On another day, Martinelli had a great chance, and Declan Rice probably should have scored as well. Technically scored an own goal, I mean, in their net. Pardon me. I think on another day, we need to be better on the defensive transition. I think we allowed Everton to grow into the game. Obviously, the way we conceded the goal, that's Benjamin White's poorest game in a hot minute. Shout out to Tim, because that was a great cameo from him. I do think we missed Bukayo Saka. Obviously, it's nice to get the 2 goals. And at a point, I think the one thing we did well was obviously score very quickly after conceding. Big up Tomiyasu, who also had a good game there. We know what we're going to get with a Sean Dyche side. They're going to be compact. They're going to be resolute, you know, not going to give you much space. And they did a lot of that. And that's why you only saw us win 2-1, really and truly. I felt on another day we needed to create a bit more clear-cut chances and actually take the ones we did. Obviously, for a very organized, rigid side that a Sean Dyche side is going to be deployed, I think you need to move the ball a bit quicker, because that's the only way you're going to disrupt them. And I don't think we did that enough, but we won the game, man. Yeah, so what can I say? Like, obviously, it's not that it doesn't matter, because 89 points, you know, on a season where we've got 89 points and still not won the league, and we're crossing into that Liverpool fan territory now where they're getting crazy points and City are just gazumping them to it. Obviously, the most wins in the campaign, you know, great defensive statistics summed up by the clean sheet, which is not just a reflection on David Raya, but the whole team. We scored 80 odd goals. I think we finished the season as 10th goal scorers. So there's a lot to compete, but we're playing a different beast in City. And as much as proud isn't the right word, because I want to get over the line, but I am proud of it. Could have been a lot worse, but at the same time, second is first loser. So all we can do is lick our wounds, see what we can do again. And I do think indirectly, you know, the players have done well, but football's not romantic. You know, it's romantic mid-season. You know, certain players have signed for the club, and you know, we've bounced back from the disappointing December. But when it gets to the ugliness, we need more answers than questions. And again, it sounds stupid for a team that scored 80 odd goals in the Premier League, 100 odd in all comps, but we need an out-and-out striker. We need another winger. We need to answer more questions. For me, we need to address central midfield, because nobody's claimed that left-sided centre mid 8 role. So yeah, man, it's one of optimism. It is one of improvement. But at the end of the day, there's nothing etched in history, in not just this season, the last 2 seasons, to say Arsenal. So yeah, man, I mean, our best hope for me is to hope Pep Guardiola, this next season's your last year, and you cut out, man, really, because this guy, we've seen him do 100 points. We've seen him get, you know, do 4 Premier Leagues on the spin, trebles. Like they said, Pep Guardiola was this, that, and the other, and he was overrated in his time in Barcelona, and he's dominated this league really and truly. So all we can do is go again. And I am proud of my boys. I'm proud of the highs and lows of the season. Obviously, it's nice to, you know, it could have been worse, isn't it? Really and truly. I always sit there in August and I say, as a minimum, if you're talking about winning a Premier League trophy, you need to be looking at 90 points. And we literally finished just shy of that. And one has to wonder, again, you can't go back in time, but had we have not taken 60 minutes to turn up at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, had we have held on to the leads against Fulham and Spurs, had we have found the back of the net at home against West Ham, where would we be? What points would we have? What would we be celebrating, really and truly? This is why I always say, you know, it is nice to be optimistic. And I do think a lot of Arsenal fans, there's a lot, I'm more so those in the public eye. I think some are very negative, negating anything we've done. I think some people are toxic positive to the point where, again, you can talk about, have hope, have all these buzzwords and things. And I'm not saying they're wrong. You can have all of that, but you need to go out there and win the game, really and truly. So, you know, it's whatever you need for your copium. You do what you need to do. But I'm proud of my boys. Unfortunately, we didn't get over the line. All we can do is regroup, charge, and go again, really and truly, and try and take this season and make it better. Make these last 2 years serious building blocks. You know, pain is necessary when it comes to growth. And I would have loved to have won the Premier League trophy, but use this pain to go again. Because when we do win a Premier League trophy, it's only going to get worse. Because the minute we win it, had we have won it yesterday, Mikel Arteta can't celebrate. You know, today he would have to think about, how do I retain it? This is what happens. And Pep's a madman, because I think Liverpool under Klopp, you know, people can laugh at Klopp, or he's got 1 Premier in however many years. He's playing a different beast. But how much has that made City better? City are going to be better off their own back, but you've seen what Liverpool's competition can do for you. I think City have, you know, seen newcomers on the block like Arsenal, and it's taking them into different gears. People can say City are not at their best and they didn't play their best and all that, and a lot of it might be true. City not at their best. All the other teams in the Premier League would die to be like that. And it just shows how good they are. It just shows how meticulous Pep Guardiola is, not just tactically, mentality, and all the other facets that we don't necessarily see as football fans. But yeah, in relation to Arsenal versus Everton, don't think we should have conceded. Think we could have done better defensively. Think we could have moved the ball better and whatnot. But it's just about getting over the line, and we got the 3 points. You know, for the 2023-24 season, we finished on 89 points. Hopefully we can go better next season, or as a minimum make that. Obviously, looking back, you know, it's probably the December period. You know, the December period will be remembered, and probably the Aston Villa defeat, which one defeat in 2024, to be sat here in May. You're smoking if you tell Arsenal fans that at the start of the season. So there's some optimism, there's some promise. I would have loved to have won a trophy. The FA Cup, we should be in the final. I know we lost to Liverpool, but I'll always say that's our trophy. Champions League, I don't think we'd have got to the final, but it is a feeling of what if, per se, really, where that's concerned. And the Premier League is what if. Had we have done this in that game, that in the other. But yeah, there's a lot of positives to take this into next season. We've just got to take the good and make it great. But on that though, people, I appreciate you lot on my YouTube channel, whether you're a rival fan or Arsenal fans, that have been, you know, commentating and listening to my opinions on this journey that Arsenal have been on. And I'm more sad about that the season's done. Obviously content isn't going anywhere, but it is nice, you know, to, you know, from August to May, we love football in it, and you know, a week's a long time in football. We've had 38 weeks. So for those of you that have joined me on this journey, you know, mid-season, and those of you that have been following me for years, appreciative to you lot, man. Hopefully I can continue to receive your support. So let me know your thoughts on the season, on Arsenal season ending, on what this means, obviously on the Everton game, and any other sound bites or talking points, you know, you'll feel free to do so. Like, comment, subscribe. Big up you lot for tuning in. Peace.
Always